Why the fuck do I need a real ID? I'm traveling this summer, and as all Americans have been warned, if you show up at the airport and you don't have a real ID or a passport, you can't fly domestically in the United States. Why? What the fuck is that? Why the fuck do I have to have a fucking passport, which is what the real ID essentially is, although it can't be used to go to another country, so it's only a passport in my own country, and only when I'm flying, not when I'm driving, not when I'm taking a train or a bus, none of that, just when I'm flying. And of course, this is Homeland Security bullshit. This is terrorism. Nothing has substantially changed since 9/11 with security. 24 fucking years ago, and we're still doing the take your belt off, take off your shoes, pull your laptop out of your bag and run it through the scanner, take all of your electronics, it's the same fucking thing. I've been flying since the 80s. And it's this, and pre 9/11, post 9/11 are completely different. And there hasn't been no change. We go through an amazing amount we go through checkpoints at the airport. We get scanned. You still cannot go and greet somebody when they get off the plane at the gate. You still can't do that. You're still not allowed to do that. You can't go through security unless you have a fucking identification or you have a plane ticket. And now you have to get a real ID. So I go to the DMV to get my real ID. And by the way, why is the DMV the same as it was in 1992? I got my driver's license in 92. I got my learner's permit in 1990 in Anchorage, Alaska. I took the test, passed it. Didn't pass it the first time, the written. Took a couple of times, but I passed it. And then I got my photo taken, and they gave me my fucking driver's permit right then and there. And they put it in a machine, it laminated it. It was perfectly fine and worked perfectly great. And I didn't have to wait. I'm in Oregon. I just went to the DMV. I have to wait 14 days to get my identification. And because I had a state ID it wouldn't matter if I did or not, but I had another state ID from a Minnesota ID, and they put a hole punch in it because now it's expired. Now it's not valid identification. It's still valid. It's still good. It's good until June, but it's apparently not because they put a hole punch in it. So now I'm walking around with a piece of paper that has my future driver's license on it. What year is it? And why is the DMV still a cramped, small building full of people spending money? Like, have you ever noticed that? The DMV, have you ever in your life gone to the Department of Motor Vehicles and it's not fucking busy? You're not spending at least an hour. I had an appointment and I was there for over an hour. I had a fucking appointment. All I was doing was getting my new driver's license for the state of Oregon with a real ID. And by the way, the real ID was like $70, I think. I paid $94 for everything. I think $15 to $20 to get your driver's license flipped over. I cannot remember what it was. But the real ID is not cheap. To just get a star on the upper right-hand corner of your identification, your ID. This is madness. First of all, it's madness that you have to travel inside of your own country and your state ID is not good enough. That is insane because they have watermarks on them. They have barcodes on the back. You can scan them, but those aren't good enough to fly anymore. Apparently, we're all terrorists until proven otherwise. Fuck, think about that. You're guilty before proven innocent. You didn't even do anything. Everyone's on hyper alert now when they fly. Every motherfucker is looking for somebody who looks like they may be suspicious. I mean, come on. Like, nobody's flying and not thinking about, everyone's in a hyper state of of concern. 24 years later, after 9/11, 24 fucking years. And we haven't made any progress in security. We still have to go through the horrible process of security checkpoints in airports. But going back to the DMV, why is this still a thing? I'm literally standing next in a line of people who are literally spending money all day long. The fucking place is busy. I talked to the lady that helped me, and she was like, yeah, we're busy all the time. I've been to the DMV now in Los Angeles, which that was a fucking nightmare. I've been to the DMV in Alaska. That was a fucking nightmare. I've been to the DMV in Illinois. That was a fucking packed nightmare. I went to the DMV. They don't call it the DMV in the Midwest. They call it something else. And in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, packed as fuck. Always busy. And they're fully staffed. They had a person at every single window. They had like 10, 15 windows, whatever it was, 14. And they all were busy. Busy constantly. And yet there wasn't enough chairs for everyone to sit in. And I don't mind if I'm fucking healthy. I can stand. I don't mind that. Standing for an hour, come on. But I'm watching old people and people that are disabled having to, and then you have to, and they need a place to sit. And you're standing literally shoulder to shoulder with people in this tiny building that was built in 1978. What the fuck? There's so much money coming into the Department of Motor Vehicles, and yet they can't get better buildings. They can't make the experience easier to deal with or less busy. Why do I need you to take a picture of me and I don't even get the ID that fucking day? I gotta wait 2 fucking weeks. Is this whole country just going backwards? Like, are we literally going backwards into time? Like, I'm standing at the DMV and it's 2025. I'm 48 fucking years old in my 49th year of life. And the DMV looks exactly the same. It's exactly the same pain in the ass it was in the fucking 90s. And it's the same in every state. They all suck. And the people there are great. I had everyone that helped me, everyone that was behind the counter, they were great. They were helpful, they were polite, they were kind, they made small talk, they did all the good things. The people were waiting. You feel like you're a hostage of this place. You're not there very long. Sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't if you have to wait in line for something. But I made a fucking appointment and had to stay there for an hour. Standing around watching one person take pictures of people. Line after line, just a line of people waiting to have their pictures taken. And having to wait. And then finding out that your ID is no longer valid. Your current, they put a staple in, they put a hole punch in it, give it back to you and go, this isn't valid anymore. Here's a piece of paper, good luck. Like, what the fuck is that? They run a background check on you right then. The Department of Motor Vehicles knows exactly where, and if you have a license from another state, they just go to that state, punch in the number, see if it's valid. They're all DMVs are connected, right? With a few exceptions, but most all, because your driver's license is good in another state, you don't have to retake your test. And I'm watching all these people my age, people older, having to get a real ID, having to spend money that they shouldn't need to spend to get an ID they shouldn't have to need for some antiquated security reason to make people feel better. Who's this making feel better? Who's like, oh, well, you have a real ID, so you're okay, thank God. And to get a real ID, you have to provide all this documentation. You have to provide not only where you live, proof of where you live, if you don't have your ID already. You have to bring your birth certificate. You have to bring your fucking social security card. The whole thing. It's very bizarre. And what's even more bizarre is, like I said, everything seems to be antiquated. We have AI recognizing software that's recognizes faces of shoplifters in Target and Walmart and in retail stores. We have fingerprint technology now, where you can just be fingerprinted digitally. You don't have to do ink, and it runs in a national registry of fingerprints. We have all of this technology, and we're still clumping around with identifications. Oh, now the federal government's getting involved and all of these, and it doesn't make sense. What would stop a person that was going to inflict harm on a society, a terrorist? What would stop them from getting a car? From getting a private plane doesn't ask you for a real ID. You can go rent a jet and have somebody fly for you, and they don't care what your ID looks like. They don't give a fuck if you have the money. And I just don't understand this. And I'm going to leave you with the one more bitch and complaint about the DMV. Why can't we do all of this stuff from our homes or our computers? Or they have computers that are there. Oregon has kiosks that will allow you to get your car registration and that sort of thing. They're sometimes in like malls and grocery stores here. But the real weight is the ID. You have to have your picture taken at the Department of Motor Vehicles. And I shit you not, they had one person taking photos. Line of people, one motherfucker doing all the photos. And for some reason, their cameras, I was like, oh, I'm bitching and complaining about the people that are in front of me. I'm like, why are they taking so many pictures? They take like 3 or 4 pictures. And I'm like, what's going on? So I get there, I sit down in the chair, and she takes the picture. It doesn't work. You have to scoot up in the chair. I'm 6'2". I'm a large man. How are you not picking my face up? Scoot forward. So I scoot forward. She's like, still can't see it. I'm literally thinking to myself, this is insanity. I could take a picture of my phone, send it to her email, and we're done. We're fucking done. Like done. Nope, I'm taking another picture. So everybody had to take multiple pictures, which makes things last even longer. And you're irritable. Everyone's irritable because I don't think they have thought about it as much as I have. I'm just sitting in this fucking building, this old ass building, and it's tiny. It's fucking tiny and cramped. Why? The DMV if it's not profitable, then the money is being grotesquely mismanaged. Everybody, I was watching these people in line. I drove by a DMV in another part of town that I was originally going to go to. The line was winding out the door. They opened at 8 and it was like 9:30 and there was still a line out the fucking door. I finally got online, went to a DMV that was a little more rural, still in Portland or still in Clackamas County, but nevertheless, it was a little bit rural. And nobody was rude, nobody was mean, but you're standing in a building. And by the way, we're getting into the hot season and they keep the doors open and the air conditioning is not really that great. So it was 75 degrees yesterday and humid. And we're getting into 80s and 90 degree weather coming this summer. I can't imagine the horror of going to the DMV, having to stand outside in the sun for 3 hours, 2 hours, before you even get inside the building that's poorly air conditioned because they can't afford it because they keep the door open because of the line. Like all of it. Like none of this made sense yesterday. And I know this isn't a political video or a societal video, but it is kind of a societal video. Because why are we still doing this with the DMV? Never mind this ridiculous real ID bullshit. Never mind that now they're telling you that you have to have a passport to travel on the air inside of the United States, which is insane. Only relevant in the air, not any other travel, just airlines. You can still rent a car without a real ID. You can still do all kinds of shit without a real ID. You just can't board a plane. And this, or you know what I would suggest? Setting up a couple of DVD kiosks at the airport. You go there with your normal ID, you give it to them, they run your shit, because because it's your social security number, they run your shit, they see you have no warrants, they see that you have never blah, 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 and they just give you the ID there. Or they approve you and you go to the next day. But we have to now go to the DMV and I think I spent $70. I have to check that, because the whole thing came to, maybe 60 it was. I don't remember. But it was ridiculous. The whole thing came to $94 to get my driver's license from another state converted over to a new driver's license in Oregon and get the real ID. And yeah, I have a passport. So I didn't technically need to get a real ID, but I wanted to get it because I don't want the hassle. I don't want to carry my passport around. I'm not going to Mexico. I don't want to carry my passport around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to lose it. And I lost my wallet when I first got my passport, so I lost that little plastic one. I only have the full. Anyway, this is a ridiculous rant, I know. But why do we need the real ID? And why is the DMV still run like it's run? That makes no fucking sense. Especially in a country with so many cars. We're the car capital of the fucking planet Earth. Ridiculous. Thank you for listening.